Hi, welcome to this quick introduction to the Flares Wizard add-on, version 2.0. To install the add-on, go to Preferences. In the Add-ons tab, click Install. Then locate the zip file. Check the box on the left and you're good to go. After the installation is complete, you will find a new tab named Lens Flares. You might encounter this message. That's because Python auto-run scripts is by default disabled for security reasons. You can enable it from here or from the preferences. To add a new lens flare, you will need a camera and an object to attach the lens flare to it. After selecting the target object, click on the Add menu. Select Add to add an empty lens flare. A new collection containing the necessary objects is added to the scene. You can build your custom lens flare by adding elements. We will come back to that later. To delete the selected lens flare, press this button. The add-on comes with 32 presets. There are several ways to load the preset. If you load from a file, you can choose one from the variable presets. You might also change the thumbnail size to better see how they look. Then, if you double-click one of them, the selected preset will be loaded. To see all the lens flares details, you can change the background color to black. The lens flare looks the same in both Cycles and Eevee. The second way of adding a preset is through the preview list. If you select a preset, it will be loaded. But if you don't like this behavior, you can disable Load on Change. That way, the preset will not load unless you click on Load this preset. If you want to replace the lens flare, change Add to Replace in the options. You can also change the size of the thumbnails. In the version 2.0, there is a faster way to load the presets. If you go to the extra option, then Quick Load and Preview, you will find all the options related to loading a preset in one place. Additionally, you can quickly cycle through the presets. Just keep in mind that the lens flares will look different depending on whether you're using Filmic or Standard. At last, we have a new search field to look for presets. For example, if I type the first letters of anamorphic, I will get the list of anamorphic lens flares. Now let's take a look at the general settings. From here you can change the target. I will duplicate the lamp, then set it as a target. If you make the target a camera object, the field will turn red and you will get this error icon. Same thing if you set an object name with the prefix LF, because it's a lens flare specific prefix. The visibility to camera option will make the camera gradually disappear if the target is not visible. You can change the fade out distance to make it fade gradually or immediately. To demonstrate this option, we have this animated lamp moving towards the camera in 3D space. If activated, the lens flare seems to be moving in the 3D space. You can adjust the corrective scale as you like. You can see the difference when it's deactivated. With the blinking option, you can make the lens flare blink. You can decrease the minimum value to make the effect more noticeable, or increase it to make the effect subtle. The animation speed is in frames. For example, the speed of 2 means you will get a blink every 2 frames, while 24 means a blink every 24 frames. Distortion is basically a second layer of noise to make the effect look more organic. And the random seeds is for changing the blinking pattern. We have this animated helicopter, and we want to add lens flares to the front lamps. Now when I play the animation, you can see that the lens flare is visible even when the helicopter turns away. That's when the obstacles detection comes in handy. To use it, you need to first select the obstacle, then click Detect Obstacles. This menu will pop up. Distance is the maximum distance between the target and the obstacle, and Steps is for smoothing the fade out. When you're done with the settings, press OK. It didn't work quite well, because the lamp is too close to the mesh. In this case, decreasing the distance will solve the problem. To add a lens flare to the second lamp, I will select it. Then in the options I will duplicate the active object. Then I will repeat the same steps. The version 2.0 comes with a lot of new options. I will use this simple scene to show you some of them. Let's start by loading a preset. Then change the color. Now saving a preset is very easy. Just give it a name and press OK. Next, to duplicate a lens flare, go to the options, then select Duplicate. The new lens flare will have the same target as the original. To duplicate a lens flare to another target, select the object, the faraway lamp in my case, then go to Options. Then duplicate to active object. You can see that the lens flare doesn't look correct. Now if in 3D space is activated, the lens flare will look more realistic. To duplicate the lens flare to multiple targets, select the object, then duplicate to selected objects. And if you have the blinking activated, you can give every duplicate a different seed. Here with the option disabled, all the lens flares have the same blinking pattern. When enabled, every lens flare has a different blinking pattern. From the options you can change the visibility of the lens flares. You can hide all of them in the viewport or in the render. You can also solo the selected. You have the option to exclude all of the collections. And finally, you have the option to delete all of them. The elements are the building blocks of the lens flare. Since there are a lot of elements in this new version, we will take a quick look at them. Let's start with the simple element. It's the same as the older versions. You can make it use the global color or the color of the element. and you can control the intensity. In this new version, we have a ton of images to choose from. The transform controls are pretty much the same as the old versions. The glow is now a separate element. It's more enhanced now as it has become procedural, which means infinite resolution. You have the option to change the fall off and the interpolation to control how the light spreads. Caustic is a new procedural element. You can control its fall off as well. And you have the option to change its shape to make it narrow or round. You can control the thickness of the contour. And you can give it this spectrum color. The ghosts element got a lot of improvements. You can colorize it through a color ramp. We have a lot of bouquet elements taken from real photos. Thanks to Matt who contributed with these images. In the special options, we can randomize pretty much all of the parameters. The ring is a new procedural element that has a lot of options. You can change the number of rays, give it a spectrum color, randomize the length of the rays, the width of the rays, and you can change its shape using the option circular completion. The hoop element is like the ring element, except it has a special behavior. The iris element is also procedural. It can help you create polygonal shapes. The lens dirt element is useful for simulating the dirt and the scratches on the lens. The ray is another procedural element. It simulates the rays shooting out of a light source. It has the same controls as the ring element, but with some additions. The shimmer element simulates light rays. It's very versatile. For example, if you change the ray's interpolation to linear and increase the ray's thickness, you will get some streaks. And if you set the animation speed, let's say to 12, you will get this nice shimmering animation. Finally, we have the streaks element, which is basically a glow element stretched in the x-axis. Additionally, you can change the number of streaks. In the extra options panel, we have this background functionality where you can add an image as a background. And you need to change the colors from filmic to standard to get the right colors. If the resolution of the image doesn't match the scene's resolution, you can use the operator set scene resolution to fix it. You can hide the background in the 3D view or in the render. And you can move it away from the camera using the Z offset parameter. Let's add a lens flare to this image. I will use a sun preset. Then I will change its parameters to blend well with the image. If you use a video as background, you will have some extra options. And finally, if you want to delete the background, use the delete BG operator. If you disable the add-on then enable it again, you will see that the lens flares will disappear. Without diving into technical details, you can simply use the update dependencies operator to fix the problem. Same thing if you use disable auto run Python scripts. This operator will fix the problem. The shortcuts are a quick way to open the folders, for example the elements folder or the manual. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.